congratulations on this film. So many rave reviews about it. I know this was a labor of love for you. Speak to us first. This film showed in TIFF last year, and you didn't get the reaction that you expected, but you kept going. You're very resilient. You speak to how you continue to fight and continue to put yourself out there as a female filmmaker. Speak to how this film and getting it out has been an important project to you.
Well, it was such an important story to tell, and I knew when I went on the journey of, like, it's been over 2 years now, that it was something that meant something to me, partly because I've had friends who have been on this journey, and some who have made it, and some that I've lost, and so I dug in to tell it, and the material's amazing, the book's amazing, and I lived through the controversy, and it didn't diminish what that book meant to me. So I always felt like it was ripe to be made, and yeah, we had an amazing reception at TIFF over a year ago. But what happened was people really got caught up in why didn't we address the controversy, and so I just thought, you know what, I'm going to step back from that, let that die down, and then people will focus on the movie, because the movie is separate from that. It's not a documentary, and the controversy is there to Google. But we have a quote at the beginning of the movie that says, "I've lived through some terrible things, some of which have happened." So it's like a nod to it without having to go through that. And I felt like James's story, he's 26 years sober still today, and that's a strong enough story for me to tell, for hope for other people.
Such an important story. James allowed you to have free range with this project, so he didn't step in your way. He allowed you to let your creative juices flow. How did that make you feel, and how did that impact your writing and your directing in this film?
Well, I mean, it's a gift when an author does that, and it's also rare. But James is rare. He's a very generous, spirited character, but he stuck to his word. He gave us complete carte blanche, and we had total, ultimate creative control. And but he was there as a resource. We could call him anytime, day or night, and he put us in touch with another person that was in rehab with him during that time. So we could make those calls, but yeah, he never interfered, and that freedom gave me, a creative spirit, which you can see in the movie. But it just meant that we could make a great movie, and that he came in at the end and loved it. So that was great. But it came with a responsibility as well, the subject matter and James's life, the two things.
What was it like working with your husband on this film? He also co-wrote with you. What was that experience like? You guys worked together before, but this was in a different space. What was that like? Did you guys feed off of each other?
Yeah, I mean, Aaron has so much more patience than me. He can sit for 8-10 hours straight and write, and I'm much more of a 20 minutes in and out. But it meant that, he very structurally understands scripts, because he's been reading them since he was about 6. But I would come in with, wild, creative ideas, and he'd somehow dissect them and put them in order. And so that worked really well together. But it was just amazing to be able to, just put everything aside and focus in, and just the two of us work. It's what we've been dreaming of since Nowhere Boy, which was a decade ago now.
Will you guys tour this movie because of the messaging, because of the point of view, because it will help lots of families and individuals that are struggling with drug addiction?
Yes, absolutely. And that was the important thing I learned actually after the TIFF experience was, people got caught up on the controversy, yet the message is so strong and such an important one today as much as any day, today more than ever actually, and that it's something so much closer to people's homes than it was maybe in 93. Maybe 93 it was something that happened outside to other people. Now it's everywhere, and I feel like our movie is about addiction, but it shows hope, and it shows the resources for help, but it shows it in a way there's humor as well. We have Billy Bob Thornton, and he's funny, but we're already touring colleges. We've been doing that, and Aaron and I have been on the road, and it has been like pushing a boulder uphill through treacle, because it's been difficult, but I'm a tough woman, and I will not give up.
And before I let you go, I admire that about you, your strength, your tenacity to keep going. Speak really briefly, if you can, about the scarcity of female filmmakers in Hollywood, and why it's such a struggle for women to use their voice to put out the films and the create.
I think, it's something I get asked. I don't have the answer, other than then we can tell amazing stories. We are as resilient as anyone else. We can run the ship, which is such a sort of like captain of the ship male term, but I feel like it's being given the chance from ground up. It's not about going to see the movie. It's from the bottom up. The financiers, the studios, the support for small stories, and it's growing, but it's taking time. And I'm someone who doesn't take no for an answer, and I'm very bold and will kick doors down. But there are people and beautiful storytellers that aren't necessarily resilient and don't necessarily have that. And I'm like want to pull everyone up behind me, because I think that